However, we should also anticipate that the major Hollywood film studios will be in full-blown meltdown mode in 2024, with Disney at the forefront. This is due to their unwavering adherence to their cherished diversity, equity, and inclusion agenda, which has unsurprisingly backfired spectacularly in their ongoing disaster. Snow White 2025 and Zegler, who somehow managed to turn what should have been her golden opportunity into a PR nightmare. Let's start by discussing the lifeline of this hundreds of millions of dollars disaster. You would think that Rachel Zegler's outspoken political remarks would serve as a wake-up call for Disney, but instead they've been frantically working behind the scenes to try to save the movie and, consequently, Zegler's reputation. Spoiler alert, it's not working out. Her remarks lit a fuse that blew up in her face, and the backlash was so intense that Disney had to step in and essentially force her to issue an awkward apology.
Even though Rachel Zegler is the most hated actress in all of Hollywood, Rachel Zegler's Snow White live-action trailer has 12,000% more dislikes than likes.
Now, this is where things get heated. With Zegler's controversy, the public disparaging Snow White, and the constant drama among Disney executives, Bob Iger and his team are having a lot of trouble. Even the film's well-known writer, Greta Gerwig, and director Mark Webb are apologizing and questioning how they got involved in this mess. Disney's decision-making has been extremely troublesome. They've been desperately pulling strings to prevent further harm, but it seems like every action they take simply serves to widen the hole and increase public fury, which is actually getting worse. The next component in the recipe for catastrophe is the elusive Snow White trailer, which Disney has been keeping hidden like it's classified intel. A select few were fortunate enough to see it at a private screening, but the studio is refusing to make it publicly available since they know it will be thoroughly dissected online. This is when things take a drastic turn, and the fact that they're keeping it to themselves tells you everything you need to know about their confidence, or lack thereof, in this endeavor. Disney has taken some pretty drastic measures against Zegler. To start, they have canceled almost all of her appearances in the movie, and we're not just talking about small ones. The big one was a scheduled singing performance at the Snow White world premiere in March 2025, where Zegler was supposed to dress like Snow White, sing, and enchant the audience with her voice. That's officially off the table now, but wait, there's more. Zegler was also scheduled to perform at the 225 Oscars as part of the movie's press tour, but that has also been canceled. If you think that's bad, Disney has also stolen a number of interviews that were meant to feature Zegler as the face of their day push.
First off, it's been ratioed harder than anything. This is a harder ratio than The Acolyte. So in case Disney wonders what's on the horizon, this like 12-to-1 ratio is...
As a matter of fact, Zegler isn't taking this lying down. Word is that she's furious. Her team has already accused Disney of discrimination, claiming that the studio is breaking promises made in her contract. Behind-the-scenes insiders characterize her behavior as unhinged, and the actress is looking for ways to fight back against what she perceives to be a betrayal by the studio. Meanwhile, Disney is in full damage control mode, attempting to manage the fallout from a film that hasn't even hit theaters yet. It's difficult to predict what Disney will do to escape this situation, but the public has made it clear that they don't want a Snow White remake that is completely enmeshed in controversy. What should have been a classic reimagining has been transformed into an epic disaster due to Zegler's involvement and the studio's unrelenting efforts to further their agenda. The bottom line is that when your lead actress is embroiled in a drama, your trailer is Mia, and your marketing strategies are collapsing, it's safe to say the ship is sinking quickly, and its crew is in toxic positivity that is letting them know what's actually happening.
I mean, you know, the original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her. Weird.
But hold on, if you thought the Rachel Zegler and Snow White story couldn't get any messier, think again. Disney's handling of this fiasco is getting to new heights of foolishness, and the cracks are getting harder to hide. From canceled performances to disastrous test screenings, the situation has gotten worse and worse, and it's ruining Zegler's career. Why Snow White wasn't just any project for her? It was the project that would determine the dynamics of her success in Hollywood. This isn't just a small setback, it's a big red flag. And with the most recent trailer still being kept under wraps like a studio secret, it's obvious that Disney is having trouble deciding what to do next. The delay is said to be too long, but let's face it, it's more like postponing the inevitable. So, what could go wrong for Snow White live action and its protagonist? Disney has begun cutting off Zegler's involvement left and right. Her public appearances have been canceled, her Oscars performance was canceled, and even her holiday parade appearances, which were meant to generate excitement for the film, have been quietly requested. For a film that was already having trouble, losing these marketing opportunities is like throwing it into the deep end without a life jacket.
About what it's actually going to be, but it's really not about the love story at all, which is really, really wonderful. And whether or not she finds love along the way is anybody's guess until 2024. All of Andrew's scenes could get cut. Who knows? It's Hollywood, baby. But
Zegler is obviously not keeping quiet about this. On social media, she is accusing Disney of discrimination and asserting that her career is being ruined by Internet Crucial. But here's the catch: Disney executives claim that they are retaliating. The true culprits, according to Zegler's own remarks and social media presence, are that her incapacity to read the room has become a PR nightmare, and removing her from the spotlight is their attempt to contain the damage. This is when the exciting part begins. After witnessing this catastrophe involving Snow White, Hollywood studios are reconsidering their casting decisions, making the Zegler effect a warning story. For instance, consider Blumhouse Productions. Zegler was supposed to feature in a brand new horror trilogy that would have competed with Scream, but she abruptly lost the agreement, further demonstrating that her reputation could be turning against her in a field that depends on popular appeal. Over the past 2 years, Zegler has demonstrated her ability to stir up controversy, whether it is about the film or other political matters. She took advantage of every opportunity to start a controversy, as evidenced by the tensions between her and her co-star Galadoo, which were stoked by their divergent opinions on the Israel-Palestine war. This conflict between the two main stars of the show has already ruined its PR campaigns, but the film itself was not immune to public animosity either. Disney's strategy to distance themselves from Snow White. The character's name comes from her surviving a literal snowstorm in the original story, something the remake conveniently overlooked. This creative disaster and tempering the lore is turning off Disney's core audience, leaving Snow White in a miserable position before it even hits theaters. The source material brought a storm of criticism online from fans who have been vocal about their frustration with the changes, and it's only adding fuel to the fire.
That, and then even Disney got on its heels and they're like, we're gonna reshoot the movie immediately. Like, we're gonna make some changes, because there was so much backlash to her arrogance and just inanity. Well,
How terrible is it for Rachel Zegler that she is not putting herself on the correct road because of the issues, the public outcry, and the growing setbacks? View her major project. The Snow White fiasco is ultimately more than just a PR nightmare. It's a wake-up call. Snow White is going to be a box office flop, and it won't be good for her future year. What do you think of the terrible Snow White remake and Rachel's unhinged behavior? Disney's gamble on Zegler and their larger objective have failed, and the final catastrophe is still to come when the film is released next year. Please share your thoughts in the comment section below, and don't forget to subscribe for more Awaken Hollywood Project videos. I'll see you at the next one.